Today, let's learn something about Chapter 16 Neuroscience in Society. By this time, you've learned a great deal about your brain and how complicated it is. The preceding chapters have mostly looked at the brain as a part of thinking, behaving, and feeling individual. But you rarely live your life as an isolated individual. In fact, you probably interact with a wide variety of people every day, from bus drivers to store clerks to your best friends. Those interactions, along with the interactions of people around you, form the basis of our society. It makes sense that what you learned about the brains of individuals can help you understand groups of individuals, human societies, and how they function. Neuroscientists constantly discover new things about the forces that drive the brain. If insights into questions like how do I make decisions or how causes addiction can change one person's life, they can have an even greater influence on groups of people, sometimes even inspiring them to transform the societies in which they live. Many questions require critical thinking about how the human mind works. Who decides what the law should be? What makes laws fair? How can we design the economy? And what groups of people does it leave behind? Answering those questions required a thoughtful understanding of the workings of the human mind. Neuroscience can provide evidence-based arguments for how to build a society, rooted in a solid understanding of brain science. It may sound like science fiction, but the more we discover about the brain, the greater its potential to transform human society. Scientists need to grapple with the ethical dimensions of their work, engaging in conversations with sociologists, lawyers, politicians, economics, and philosophers to determine the best ways to build on their groundbreaking revelations about the human brain. The first section is about neural law. Neural law is an interdisciplinary field that explores the interactions between neuroscience and legal principles. It seeks to understand how developments of neuroscience can inform legal reasoning, decision making, and policy. Neural law examines questions such as how brain function and structure influence behavioral responsibility and capability, and how this understanding can impact legal proceedings. And the first is about criminal responsibility, examining whether and how brain abnormalities, injuries, or development factor affect an individual's capacity to understand right from wrong or control their behavior. And the second is lie detection, accessing the validity and reliability of neuroscientific techniques such as functional MRI or or EEG in detecting deception. And the third is sentencing and rehabilitation, considering how knowledge of brain function can inform sentencing decisions, such as whether certain individuals may benefit more from rehabilitation incar- incar- than incarceration. And the fourth, privacy and ethics, addressing ethical concerns related to the use of neuroscientific evidence in legal proceedings, particularly issues of privacy and the potential misuse of neuron technologies. And the second part is about neuroeconomics. Neuroeconomics is an interdisciplinary field that combines elements of neuroscience, economics, and psychology to study how individual decisions are made. It seeks to understand the neuron processes underlying economic decision making, how these decisions are influenced by emotions, cognition, and social factors, and how they relate to economic outcomes. The first part is about decision-making processes, investigating the neuron mechanisms involved in decision-making, such as risk assessment, reward processing, and valuation of choices. The second part is behavioral economics integration, incorporating insights from behavioral economics to understand deviations from rational decision-making predicted by traditional economic models. And the third part is about neuroscientific techniques, using advanced neuroimaging techniques such as fMRI and EEG, and neuropsychological experiments to explore brain activity patterns associated with economic behaviors. And the fourth part is about applications in policy and marketing, applying findings from neuroeconomic research to inform policy making, consumer behavioral analysis, and marketing strategies. And the fifth part is about interdisciplinary approach, collaborating across disciplines like neuroscience, economics, psychology, and even computer science to develop comprehensive models of decision making and that integrate biological, psychological, and economic factors. And finally, about ethics and the future of neuroscience. There are some aspects about ethical challenges in neuroscience. The first aspect is about privacy and consent. As neuroscience explores brain function, issues of privacy arise concerning the collection and use of sensitive neural data. Ensuring informed consent and protecting confidentiality are essential. And the second aspect is about enhancement technologies. Neuroscientific discoveries may enable cognitive and emotional enhancement. Ethical dilemmas arise regarding fairness, corrosion, and potential social drafts between enhanced and non-enhanced individuals. And about ethical challenges in neuroscience also include dual-use technologies. Neuron technologies developed for therapeutic purposes could potentially be misused for coercive or invasive purposes. And neuron diversity and identity. Advances in neuroscience raise questions about how we define and respect diverse neurological conditions and identities. And that's all about Chapter 16.